Chapter 4. Forgiveness. Karenin returned to his lonely hotel room. There he found a telegram waiting for him from Anna. The telegram read, "I am dying. I beg you to come. I shall die easier with your forgiveness."
"Is this some kind of a trick?"
asked Karenin.
"But if she really is dying and I refuse to see her, it would be very cruel. I must return home."
Karenin knew that Anna was going to give birth to Vronsky's child soon. He guessed that Anna's health was poor because of the coming childbirth. When he arrived home, a servant opened the door for him.
"How is my wife?"
asked Karenin.
"She gave birth to a daughter yesterday,"
replied the servant.
"but she is very sick today. The doctors are worried."
Karenin noticed a strange hat and coat hanging in the hallway.
"Who is here now?"
he asked. The servant hesitated for just a second.
"Count Vronsky, sir."
Karenin went upstairs and found Vronsky sitting outside his wife's bedroom. Vronsky had his face buried in his hands. He looked up at the sound of Karenin's approach.
"She is dying,"
he said.
"The doctors say there is no hope. Let me stay here."
Karenin turned away without speaking. He went into Anna's room. She lay on her side, facing the door with shining eyes. "Come here, Alexei," she said. "I do not have much time. The fever will come back, and I will die soon." Karenin knelt down beside Anna's bed. He took her warm hand in his own and put his other hand on her forehead. He could feel the fever burning like a furnace under her pale white skin. "Stay a little, Alexei," said Anna. "There is something I must tell you. There is another woman inside of me. I am afraid of her. She is the one who fell in love with that man. I'm not that woman. I am my true self now. I'm dying. I know I am. There is only one thing that I want. Forgive me. Please forgive me completely." A warm feeling of love, compassion, and forgiveness filled Karenin. He laid his head on Anna's chest, which burned like fire through her shirt, and he cried. Anna saw Vronsky standing at the door. "Why doesn't he come in?" she said. Come in. Alexei, give him your hand." Vronsky came in and stood by Anna's bed. "Give him your hand," said Anna to her husband. "Forgive him." Karenin held out his hand, not even trying to stop the tears that flowed down his cheeks. "Ah, thank God, thank God," cried Anna. "Now everything is done. I can die now. Oh God, when will the pain end?" Later, the doctor came and told Karenin that almost all patients with Anna's condition died. He did not expect her to live through the night. However, the next morning, Anna's condition had not changed. The doctor said there might be some hope. Karenin went into the small room where Vronsky had sat up all night. He took a chair opposite his rival.
"I had decided on a divorce because I wanted to punish her and you,"
said Karenin.
"When I got her telegram, I came home with many feelings. I admit I even wanted her to die, but I saw her and I forgave her. My duty is clear. I should stay with her, and I will. If she wants to see you, I will let you know. However, I think it is best that you leave now.
Vronsky could not understand how Karenin could be so calm and forgiving. Now he seemed like a noble gentleman, kind, honorable, and a better man than Vronsky. As he made his way from Karenin's house to his own home, Vronsky felt a deep sense of shame, humiliation, and guilt. He tried to sleep, but he could not. He had recently been offered an important position in Tashkent, but this was nothing to him now. Anna was gone, and he had been shamed by her husband.
Am I going mad?
He thought to himself.
This is how people commit suicide.
Vronsky went to his desk and took out a pistol. Then he pointed it at his chest and fired. As he sank to the floor, he felt no pain. He saw the blood on the carpet and realized he had shot himself.
Fool!
He thought.
I missed.
Then everything went black. His servant, who had heard the shot, ran in the room. Seeing the situation, he ran for the doctor. Vronsky was laid on the bed with a serious wound to his chest, but his heart still beat strongly. Karenin had completely forgiven Anna. He pitied Vronsky, especially after he heard that Vronsky had tried to kill himself. He also pitied his son, Seryoza, in whom he had not shown much interest. As time went by, Anna became better. Karenin noticed that she was afraid of him and would avoid him if possible. Since becoming well, Anna had forgotten what she had said to Karenin. She wanted to see Vronsky, who was recovering. However, she felt a deep shame whenever she thought of her husband. Finally, she sent for her brother Oblonsky. When Oblonsky met Anna, he said,
I know it's hard, but you must cheer up. Nothing is so terrible to make you unhappy all the time.
No, Stiva, said Anna. I am lost, but my misery is not over yet, and the end will be terrible.
You had the bad luck of falling in love with a man who was not your husband. Your husband forgave you, but can you continue living with him? Do you want to? Does he want to?
I don't know, said Anna. I have no idea what he wants.
Then let me sort this out for you,
said Oblonsky.
He's miserable, you're miserable. What good can come out of this situation? A divorce would solve everything. I will go to him now and arrange for a divorce.
Oblonsky found Karenin sitting at his desk in his study.
I hope I'm not disturbing you,
said Oblonsky as he entered the room.
I wanted to talk with you about my sister.
I can think of nothing else,
sighed Karenin.
Look, I have just written her this note.
Karenin handed Oblonsky a short note that read,
I can see that you are not comfortable being around me. I promise you that I would forgive you with all my heart. When I saw you at the time of your illness, my only desire was that you would become a good wife again. But now I see that is impossible. Tell me what will make you happy and give you peace. Whatever you ask, I will grant.
Oblonsky read the note with wonder. He was amazed at how generous Karenin was.
I have to know what she wants,
said Karenin.
Well, that is simple,
replied Oblonsky.
She wants a divorce, and this way you both can have your freedom.
All right,
exclaimed Karenin.
If she desires it, I will give her a divorce, even if she takes away my son.
Oblonsky smiled gently.
Believe me, she will appreciate your generosity. I am only doing my best to help you and her.
Chapter 5. Escape. Vronsky had lain in bed on the edge of death for several days after he shot himself. Slowly he recovered. When he was well enough to move around, he decided to give up Anna. The only problem was that he could not remove the sadness from his heart whenever he thought of her. So when Vronsky heard from Anna's best friend, Princess Betsy, that Karenin had agreed to a divorce, he went straight over to Anna's house. Without caring if he ran into Karenin, he went to Anna's room, opened the door, and took her into his arms. He showered her face, neck, and shoulders with kisses.
We will go to Europe and leave all this behind us,
he told Anna. Anna trembled with excitement and fear. Can we really live as husband and wife? She said. Stiva told me that my husband had agreed to a divorce. Will he really give up Seryoza?
Do not worry about that now. Do not think of it,
replied Vronsky. Oh, I wish I had died, said Anna as tears streamed down her beautiful face. It would have been easier, but I am so happy to see you again. Vronsky never dreamed that he would resign from the military so quickly. That day he did so without hesitation. In a week, he arranged for Anna and their daughter to leave St. Petersburg. They left for Italy, thinking that Karenin would arrange for the divorce in their absence. For 3 months, Vronsky and Anna traveled through Europe. Finally, they bought a modest house in a small Italian town and lived there for 3 months. Anna was the happiest she had ever been in her life. Her health recovered completely, and the more she learned about Vronsky, the more she loved him. She had him all to herself at last, and his presence was a constant source of joy to her. Anna did not allow thoughts of her suffering husband or abandoned son to ruin her happiness. She had grown very fond of her daughter Annie. During these 3 months, she rarely thought about Seryoza. Vronsky also felt a joyous sense of freedom in having left the army and his social circles. He was happy at first, but as the weeks passed, he became restless. He had no job and no official duties to fill the day with, so they decided to move to Vronsky's large family estate in the countryside near St. Petersburg. But first, they planned to stop in that city so that Anna could visit her son. When Anna left him, Karenin became very unhappy. He could not understand how he could be alone and sad after forgiving his wife and her lover. In addition, he felt humiliated when he went out. He was sure that people were talking about him and laughing. A few days after Anna left, he received a bill from a hat store that Anna had forgotten to pay. When he saw it, an overpowering sense of loss came over him. He sat down and started to cry. There was one person in St. Petersburg who cared for Karenin. She was Countess Lydia Ivanova. She was a deeply religious woman who married quite young. However, her husband had left her after only 2 months. When she heard that Anna had gone, she pitied Karenin deeply. Now that Anna was gone, she decided to visit Karenin on the same day that he wept alone in his study. That was where she found Karenin, sitting with his head in both hands. "I have heard everything," said Lydia as she took one of Karenin's hands into hers. My dear friend, your sorrow is great, but you must be strong. Karenin looked up at Lydia with tears in his eyes.
It's not the loss that troubles me most,
said Karenin.
I feel humiliated. Also, I find myself spending all day dealing with household matters, making arrangements for the servants and my son and paying the bills.
I understand, my dear friend, said Lydia. You need a woman's hand in your household. Will you trust me to manage your domestic affairs? Silently and gratefully, Karenin pressed Lydia's hand. I will be your housekeeper, said Lydia. We will take care of Serioza together. Don't thank me, but thank him. Only in him can we find peace, comfort, and love.
I am very grateful to you,
Karenin said. Lydia smiled and patted his hands. Then she went to Serioza and took him in her arms. She told him that his father was a saint and that his mother was dead. When Lydia heard that Anna and Vronsky had returned to St. Petersburg, she was horrified. She felt that Karenin must be protected from seeing that awful woman. He must not even know that she had come back. The next day, Lydia received a note from Anna. It read, My dear Countess, I am very unhappy at being apart from my son and would very much like to see him before I leave St. Petersburg. I am writing to you instead of my husband because I do not wish to make him suffer by seeing me. Knowing your friendship with him, I am sure you will understand. Will you send Serioza to me, or should I come to the house at a time when Karenin will be away? I am very grateful for your help. Anna. Lydia was very annoyed by Anna's note. She decided to ignore Anna's desire not to involve Karenin. When Karenin arrived, Lydia showed him Anna's note. He read it carefully and then said,
I do not think I have the right to refuse her.
My dear friend, you do not see the evil in anyone, exclaimed Lydia.
I have forgiven her,
replied Karenin.
I cannot refuse her love for her son.
But is it really love? Asked Lydia. Can she be sincere in love? And should we allow her to play with the feelings of the boy? He thinks she is dead, and he prays for her. Imagine his shock if he were to see her.
I had not thought of that,
said Karenin. If you will accept my advice, I suggest you deny her the right to visit the boy, said Lydia. With your permission, I will write a reply saying so. Karenin reluctantly agreed, and the Countess wrote a note to Anna that read, Madame, to remind your son of you will probably cause him to ask questions that would be difficult to answer. It is therefore better if he did not see you. May God have mercy on you. Countess Lydia. Anna's response to Lydia's letter was one of anger. She decided that she would go visit her son the next day, which happened to be his birthday. She went in the morning, when she knew Serioza would still be in his room. The servant who answered the door was surprised, but said nothing. Anna went straight to her son's room. She found him sleeping. Serioza, she whispered as she thought, how much he has changed. He's much taller and thinner now. But he was the same Serioza, her dear son. He raised himself and shook his head as if he were dreaming. He looked at his mother with confusion for a few seconds. Then his mouth split into a huge smile that flashed his white teeth. With joyous eyes, he fell forward into his mother's arms. Serioza, my darling boy, said Anna. Mama, he said, I knew you would come on my birthday. I just knew it. I'm going to get up now. Anna was watching him with tears flowing from her eyes. You didn't think I was dead, did you? Asked Anna. I never believed it. I knew you would come, said Serioza. Then he laughed. Mama, you're sitting on my clothes. Serioza, said Anna, you must love your father. He is kinder and better than I am. I have been wicked to him. When you are older, you will understand. No one is better than you, cried Serioza. Suddenly, the door opened and Karenin came in. He stopped at the sight of Anna, but he showed no emotion. Serioza sat back on the bed and began to cry. Anna kissed his wet face and turned to go. Karenin moved back and bowed his head as she passed. Chapter 6. Jealousy. Once back in her hotel room from Karenin's house, Anna cried uncontrollably. Why isn't Vronsky here in my time of need? Thought Anna. Desperately, she imagined that he had left her too. I am all alone in the world, she cried. Quickly, she sent a message to Vronsky asking him to come at once through a hotel servant. A little while later, the servant delivered a reply which said he would come back soon with a friend, Prince Yashvin. A strange idea grew in Anna's head. Why doesn't he come back alone? I can't tell him about my suffering if he is not alone. Does he still love me? Is he trying to avoid being alone with me? If he doesn't love me anymore, he should tell me. However, when Vronsky and Yashvin arrived, Anna was very charming. During their conversation over dinner, Yashvin talked about politics. Vronsky seemed to be very interested. Anna got the impression that Vronsky wanted to move to Moscow to run for government office. After Yashvin left, Anna said, It will be nice to live on your family's estate in the countryside. Vronsky hesitated and seemed a little guilty.
Actually, my mother is currently staying there,
he replied.
It would not be proper for us to live there while she is there. Besides, we should wait for the divorce.
Anna felt lost. In the next few days, Vronsky would go out to dinner parties or to the opera without her. She could not go because she would be the subject of much gossip. However, Vronsky needed to go there to make important connections. He had decided to become a politician. During this time, Anna became jealous. She imagined Vronsky meeting many young and beautiful women at these social events. She was afraid he might fall in love with another woman. This was actually her worst fear, because Vronsky had once told her, without thinking, that his mother wanted him to marry the young Princess Sorokina. One evening, Anna became tired of staying at home by herself and went to an opera. During the performance, a member of the royal family who was sitting next to her said hello. Anna had known him for a long time. Suddenly, his wife stood up and said she would not be seen with such a wicked woman as Anna. The wife left abruptly, and her husband followed. All he could do was nod to Anna in pity. Most of the audience in the opera house saw this incident. Anna was extremely humiliated. She stayed as long as she could, frozen in her seat. After a few minutes, she went back to her hotel room and cried. Anna was waiting for Vronsky to return from a dinner party. They had argued the day before, and Vronsky had been away from home the entire day. Anna was feeling miserable and lonely, and she decided to forgive him everything so that they could be friends again. When Vronsky came in, she said, "Well, did you have a good time?" Vronsky could see that Anna was in a good mood, so he said,
The same as usual.
"Darling," said Anna, "I went for a drive today. It was so lovely, and it reminded me of the country. Your mother has moved to her country house by Moscow, so your estate is empty. We can wait for the divorce in the country,"
Yes, I agree.
said Vronsky.
When do you think we should go?
"How about the day after tomorrow?" suggested Anna,
Yes. Oh, actually, no.
said Vronsky.
The day after tomorrow is Sunday, and I must visit my mother.
He felt a little embarrassed because Anna was looking at him suspiciously. "You could go there tomorrow," Anna said.
No, I'm going to my mother's on business, to take some money from her.
Replied Vronsky.
It won't be ready by tomorrow.
"Well then, we won't go to the country at all," said Anna.
Why not?
Asked Vronsky in surprise.
We can go there in a few days.
"No," said Anna. "If you loved me, you would want to go immediately. And if you don't love me anymore, it would be better and more honest to say so,"
Wait,
he said.
I don't understand. I said we must postpone our departure for a few days, and you accuse me of not loving you anymore.
Without looking at him, Anna pulled her hand away from him and left the room. "He hates me, that is clear," thought Anna. "He is in love with another woman." Thinking back to her illness during childbirth, Anna thought it would have been much better if she had died then. "If I die, then all the shame and disgrace I have brought on my husband and Seryoza will be wiped out," thought Anna. "And if I die, he too will be sorry." The next morning, as Anna and Vronsky were having breakfast, a telegram arrived for him. He read it and seemed to be hiding it from Anna. She asked who it was from.
It's from Stiva.
He said. "Why don't you show it to me?" asked Anna.
All right.
Said Vronsky reluctantly.
Read it yourself.
The telegram read,
Have seen Karenin, but little hope of divorce.
Anna said, "There was no need to hide this from me. A divorce doesn't interest me. Why does it interest you?" Vronsky felt frustrated.
Because I like things to be definite.
He said,
And I think the reason you get upset so easily is because your position is uncertain.
"My position is certain," replied Anna. "I am completely in your power. It's your position that is not sure."
Anna, if you think I want to be free...
Vronsky started to say. Anna interrupted him. "I really do not care what your mother thinks and whom she wants you to marry."
We are not talking about that.
Shouted Vronsky. "Yes, we are," replied Anna. "And let me tell you, I do not care about the heartless woman, whether she is old or not, and I do not want to have anything to do with her." Vronsky became very cold and angry.
Anna, please do not speak about my mother like that. Show some respect.
Anna spent the whole day in her room. Again the thought of death came into her mind, as the only solution to her problems. Nothing mattered to her now, whether they went to the country or not. All that mattered was to punish Vronsky. Anna laid down for a nap and had the same strange dream about the dirty peasant muttering in French. She woke with a start and heard a carriage outside. Looking out the window, she saw a young, pretty girl lean out. Vronsky ran out of the house and took a package from the girl. He said something and she smiled. Then her carriage drove off and Vronsky came back inside. Trembling with fear and anger, Anna went to Vronsky's study. She decided to tell him she would leave him.
That was Princess Sorokina,
said Vronsky.
She brought me some documents from my mother. We are going to visit her tomorrow, aren't we?
You are, but I am not, said Anna. She started to leave.
Anna, we cannot continue like this.
You will be sorry for this, said Anna, and she left. Vronsky saw the despair in Anna's eyes. He got up to follow her, but then he sat down again.
No,
he thought.
I've done everything I can. She needs to be left alone now.
He sent for a carriage and prepared to visit his mother alone. The carriage arrived a few minutes later, and he left the house. Anna saw him leave through her window. A sudden horror gripped her heart. He has left me. It's all over now, she thought. Quickly she ran downstairs. Where has he gone? She asked a servant.
To the railway station,
came the reply.
He is going to catch a train to Obiralovka.
Obiralovka was the district where Vronsky's mother lived. Anna sat down and quickly wrote a note. It's all my fault. Come back home. We must talk. For God's sake, come back. I am very frightened. The servant took the note. Half an hour later, he came back and said he was too late in getting to the train station. Vronsky had already left. Quickly, she wrote out a telegram and told the servant to send it. It read, I absolutely must talk to you. Come home at once. I must go there right now to talk to him, Anna thought. She looked at the railway time schedule and saw that a train left for Obiralovka in an hour. She sent for a carriage and went to the train station. On the way, she looked at the people on the streets. Their lives seemed meaningless to her. At the station, the coachman asked,
Should I buy a ticket to Obiralovka for you?
Yes, said Anna. She looked at the other people waiting for the train and did not like any of them. When she got her ticket, Anna boarded the train. She thought the other people in the carriage were looking at her in a strange and unpleasant way. Anna looked out the window and saw a dirty old peasant bending down and looking at the carriage wheels. There's something familiar about that peasant, thought Anna. Then the train started. When she arrived in Obiralovka, Anna got out and asked the telegram clerk if there was a note from Count Vronsky for her.
Yes, ma'am,
replied the clerk.
I just got it. Here it is. Actually, Count Vronsky's coachman was just here to pick up Princess Sorokina.
Anna read the note that Vronsky had written carelessly. It read,
Just received your telegram. I cannot return until 10.
Yes, this is what I expected, thought Anna. She thought how awkward it would be to walk into Vronsky's mother's house with Princess Sorokina there. Oh, where shall I go? She thought as she wandered down the platform. She wanted to be alone, and there was no one at the end of the platform. Another train was approaching, and the platform began to shake. Suddenly, Anna remembered the man who had been run over by a train on the day she met Vronsky. Now she knew what she had to do. Quickly, she walked down the steps to the tracks. She looked at the wheels of the approaching train. There, she thought. There in the middle between the wheels. I will kneel down there. I will punish him and escape from my pitiful existence. Anna missed the first carriage, but on the second, she dropped to her knees. As soon as the wheels of this carriage passed, she knelt forward over the rail. At that same moment, she was filled with horror at the thought of what she was doing. Where am I? What am I doing? Why? She suddenly thought. She tried to get up and throw herself back, but something huge struck her on the back of her head. It dragged her along the rail and pushed her down. God, forgive me for everything, she thought. A dirty peasant working on the rails on the other side of the train was talking to himself quietly. He did not see Anna as she was pushed along the opposite rail. The light inside her mind, by which she had viewed all her troubles, all her lies, sorrow, and evil, suddenly became very bright. For the first time, she clearly saw everything that had been hidden from her in darkness. But just as quickly, that light grew dim and was lost